Okay, so now we have called ahead to our customer. We give them a good first impression that we're a good, happy-go-lucky technician and we're on the way to their home. So we took care of that. Now, we're going to park on the street, rather, never in the driveway. And so we need to get, now it's the approach. So we need to get out of our truck quickly because they're probably looking out the window. So you don't want to be in there talking on the phone or rifling through papers or closing out your last job or anything like that because they're looking out the window and they're looking like, what's he doing in there? Why is he sitting in there? He's wasting my time. So pull up to the house, put it in park, swiftly get out of the truck, walk around the truck, because we're parking on the street, remember. But remember, a block down, make sure that you don't got any food on your face. Make sure you don't have any, ketchup dripped on your uniform. Make sure your breath is good. Make sure you have shoe covers. Make sure you have a pen. Make sure you have a clipboard. Make sure you have your bag. Make sure you have job packets. Make sure you have everything in your bag before you pull up to the house and then walk up the driveway. I don't know how many times I've made this mistake where I walked up to the house, I introduced myself, I came in, and I didn't have a pen. And I'm like, and I'm like, or I forgot my shoe covers. That's the other one. I'd forget my I shouldn't call them shoe covers, or floor savers, right? They're not shoe covers. Shoe covers protect my feet. Floor savers protect their home. We're doing it for them, so they're floor savers. So I would forget my floor savers. And I would say, I got to go grab something in my truck real quick. See, I just threw the whole service call off, and I lost the vibe, and again, emotionally it sucked. Logically, it shouldn't matter. Emotionally, it sucked. So I would go back out to the truck, I'd grab my floor savers, and I would come back to the home. So don't do that. Don't make those mistakes. Will you make those mistakes? Probably, but try to avoid them at all costs. Make sure you have a pen because you're going to write the customer's name down so you don't forget it. Make sure you have your floor savers on. You're going to put those on when you come into the house. You need your clipboard. You need your bag with all your materials, okay? Make sure you don't have stuff on your face. Make sure your hair is straightened out. Make sure you don't have any stains in your shirt. All that kind of stuff, okay? When you're going to exit the truck, walk around, and you're going to do it, fairly quickly. When you walk up halfway up the driveway, we smile and we wave at the house. Okay? You'll see this in the next video and role play and how important this is. Remember I talked about your first impression was when we called on the phone and we sounded happy. We said happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday, how are you, Mr. Jones, etc. Now they're going to visually see you for the first time. So if you're walking up to the house and you smile and wave at the house, they're like, well, this looks like a happy guy. They start to get excited that you're at your house. They start to like you and they start to trust you already, which is what we need to accomplish, right? Now, let's just say for some reason the homeowner's not looking out the window. And by the way, you usually can't see the homeowner through the window. You're just going to smile and wave like somebody's there. But if nobody's there, who else might be watching you? All the neighbors, because people are nosy. Think about it. If you live in some type of development or in a town and a neighbor has a cabinetry company, a lawn service, a pool company, you're looking out the window. You're nosy. Your neighbors are no different. They're checking you out. They're finding out what you got going on, and they're looking out the window. So if you smile and wave at the house, the neighbors will think, well, wow, that seems like a happy guy. And they might actually, remember the name of the company and write it down. Or we've even had it where the neighbor comes over to the house and asks you if you can look at something at their house. That happens actually quite often. So make sure you're doing that. Make sure you look happy and approachable. Remember, we want to get them to like and trust you. This helps doing that. Also, the neighbors will be watching, like I said, which is what I want to touch on. Every time your uniform is on, when you have the uniform on your body, you are being watched all the time. You are consistently being watched. And if you don't think you're being watched, assume you're being watched. Customers are watching you. Okay? Kids in people's homes are watching you. Visitors at people's homes are watching you. Your customers are watching you not just in their home, but they're watching you at the gas station, at Target, at Home Depot, or a hardware store. They're watching you. If there's a nanny working at a customer's home, they're watching you. Apprentices are really watching you. They are watching every move you make. If you don't tuck your shirt in, they'll think they don't have to tuck their shirt in. If you come to work look like your uniform looks like crap, they'll think it's acceptable for their uniform to look like crap. If you're following all the steps, they'll learn all the steps. Don't just do this for you, do it for others, okay? Because they're watching you. They're watching you like a hawk, those apprentices. Not just the work you're doing and how you diagnose things and how you fix things. They're also watching how you interact with the customer. Things that work, things that don't work. People have a lot of cameras in their house now. Nest cameras and all these wireless gadgets. If nobody's home, assume you are being watched, because you probably are, one way or another. No snooping, no looking through mail, no looking at weird pictures on the wall. Do your work. Don't even make it look like you're looking at anything in their home. People driving are watching you. I laughed because I was driving down the road one day, and there was a plumbing company next to me at a stoplight. And I looked over, and when I looked over, the technician spit his chew wad into a clear pop bottle. And I'm a guy, and not much grosses me out, but I was just like, oh, really? You know, come on. If that's a homeowner, they might never call your company because of something like that. So don't do that stuff when you're doing that. Your customers' neighbors are watching, like I said, smile and wave, but they're watching you coming in and out of the door. They're watching you get tools. When you're around the side of your truck, don't smoke a cigarette quick or stand outside for 30 minutes on the phone. The neighbors will be like, yeah, I seen you an electrician in your home. He was talking on the phone for like 30 minutes outside behind the house. You're being watched. That uniform is on. You are being watched, I promise you. Your competition is watching you. I promise you, any electrical, HVAC, or plumbing company that you compete with in your area, when they see you driving down the road or at a gas station, they are watching you like a hawk. They're looking at your uniforms. They're looking at your boots, your tools if you're carrying any, your truck, how clean it is, everything. They are looking at it up and down. I bet you do it when you look at the competition in your area, and they're doing the same thing to you. Make sure you understand you are always being watched when you have that uniform on. The media could be watching you. You ever see these like investigative reports where they set up a hidden camera and they hire people to come to a house and they try to bust them on overcharging or some kind of scam or something like that? There's a chance that could happen in your town. You don't want to be the guy in the 6 o'clock news doing something wrong, okay? So, always being watched. Another thing, coming from an owner perspective, I am always watching you as my team members. When I see one of my technicians walk into our shop with an untucked shirt, no ID badge, and a wrinkled pants, I assume that's how he looks when he goes into the house. I hope to God I'm wrong, but I assume that's going on. But when I see one of my technicians walk in and everything is primed and prompt and everything is where it should be and he looks professional, you walk like a duck, you act like a duck, you're probably a duck. You look professional, you act professional, you're probably a professional. Your bosses are no different. We are emotional also. We are not just logical, we are also emotional. Your managers and owners. Keep that in mind when you're around the office. Also, call takers, dispatchers, apprentices, warehouse people, they see you. They're watching you. They're judging you just like a customer. Act professional, look professional, be professional. That concludes our approach and appearance section.